having. This is Brendan Hurst. He's brought down just 2 metres out from the Newcastle line. They can go either way. They go to the left, held up over the line. This is Marcus Bai. He'll play it just centimetres out. The ball comes out now for Patton. This is Tom O'Reilly. They're back inside to Andrew King, and Andrew King will score with just 1:10 on the clock.
Fantastic start for the Chargers. They got the bounce right, really, didn't, from the kick-off from Graham Mackay. Resulting possession, but haven't they started so well? All the players bursting onto the ball with so much enthusiasm, and they really deserve that try.
Marcus Bai it was who went close initially. This is Patton. He's shaped to pass, the step off the right foot from Tom O'Reilly, and then the perfect run, and what a catch as well from Andrew King, and the run around behind the post. The Newcastle Knights, they've been shocked early in this encounter. They let it go from the kickoff, and they lost the ball from that. And obviously, look at Andrew King, what skills they are.
He did very well, didn't he, Andrew King, to juggle the ball from around his back. Tom O'Reilly does well, doesn't he? Step off right and left, puts him in between Glanville and Muir. The fact that the tackle had to go low enabled him to offload. Great inside support from King.
Last tackle now for the Gold Coast. They switch it round to the right. The kick ahead from Wes Patton is charged down. That comes back on the Gold Coast side, and they've got 6 more tackles. Patton ranging out wide, brings the ball inside, and Jeremy Schloss will go across. They've scored 2 tries in 5 minutes, the Chargers.
What a dream start. I mentioned the fact for Newcastle at the moment, everything's going wrong against them. Lee Jackson tried to get in and put some pressure on Wes Patton. The ball was charged down and resulting in 6 more tackles for the Chargers. Then eventually Jeremy Schloss does very well to go hard and low close to the line. Robbie O'Davis unable to stop him. As we see Wes Patton pick it up, scamper at a dummy half, turn the ball back inside on the angle. Defenders were all running across the touchline, unable to stop Jeremy Schloss.
They all seemed terribly wrong-footed by perhaps a move that shouldn't have wrong-footed them in the end. I mean, it was, I think, there maybe Adam Muir who was caught inside. Goddard for Patton. The short ball brings in Sattler, and Sattler's put on his back. On the field, Harrigan starting to limber up on the sideline. He'll want to get out there. He'll be hurting inside, knowing his team's in trouble. He's not able to do anything about it at the moment. But they've come up with the ball, the Gold Coast, through Jeremy Schloss. He's had quite a week, the back rower for the Gold Coast. Picked in the State of Origin squad this week. This is Nahi. And in back play, I can tell you that Wayne Richards is down and struggling. He gets to his feet now as the Gold Coast free up the ball. This is Jamie Goddard. They've got numbers. Patton. It bounces off the shoulder of Schloss, and he races back to collect it. Goddard looks around for support, looks to go himself, can't get the ball down. Dragged down just a metre out. Or stepping off the left foot goes Schloss. Will he go over again? Yes, he does. Second try to Jeremy Schloss. This glorious Gold Coast beginning just gets better. 16 points to 0.
It's a simple saying, there's no magic, just hard work, and that's really all the Gold Coast have done. Simple play of just the determination of wanting to get over that try line. Schloss receives the ball, a little bit of a step and a dummy, but there's 3 defenders around him, and I'm sure Malcolm Wheeler will be disgusted with the fact that Schloss can score with such ease, really.
We're not talking about ordinary defenders there either. Mark Glanville was amongst them.
We were only talking before the game too about the defence of the Newcastle side and how strong it had been this year. Gold Coast side just taking it to pieces. Great determination to score.
Patton, the short ball inside, and Glanville again involved in a strong hit there on Scott Sattler. One of the things about Mark Glanville is that when he finds you, and you remember. And one of the things they would know if they had was that Mark Hughes is terrific under the high ball.
Actually, as the game moves on, they elect to kick to one of the wingers rather than to the very capable Mark Hughes at full back.
Harrigan taken a little high. We've got a couple of players called out. Sattler is one of them. Harrigan, of course, who is only being eased back into the game because he'll play it 10 metres out. Jackson for Dinova, who goes to the air. You've got Craigie out there, and Dwyer has come up. He's lost it. Evan Cochrane gets the ball back inside. The Gold Coast may come up with it. No, they won't. This is Dinova. He'll come back. Not happy with the result.
I think we might come up with a penalty to the Gold Coast. Adam Muir prevented West Patton from getting to his little kick through. See frustration now on his sides. On his own face and his sides. Ball's flicked back inside by Cochrane. West Patton fancies his chances on a little bit of a kick through, and Adam Muir clearly takes him out without the ball.
What was he complaining about?
I think when Adam looks at that again and sees the ball.
It's been a good defensive set of 6 so far for Newcastle. As Scott Sattler makes a half break. They're determined to prove me a liar this evening, the Gold Coast. Last tackle now. Fast hands from Wes Patton frees up the kick on the outside, but again it's Mark Hughes who's well positioned, and he'll bring the play back to the 20-metre line.
Well, that was excellent enthusiasm from McKellar there in jersey 4, but there were 3 other players alongside him down there to make it impossible for Mark Hughes really to return that ball any better than he already did.
Stepping through and making a break is Troy Fletcher. Fletcher looks around, he finds now Jason Moody, and Jason Moody will stretch out to score for the Newcastle Knights. That's one they needed. We're inside the last 10 minutes of the first half, and the Knights are finally on the board.
You've got the feeling that the whole Knights side was just waiting for somebody to come up with it. The Gold Coast side seem to burn themselves out a little. The ball moves, they move it wide here.
Troy Fletcher brushing off a couple of tackles and looking around and eventually finding support inside from Jason Moody. Had a shocking year with injury last year. Broke his right arm twice. And you have to feel for a player with obvious ability who just doesn't get the opportunity. A great break here from Fletcher. Just busted through the tackles. You can see the call then from Jason Moody. And as good as he is offensively, his defensive game has really picked up in the last couple of weeks as well. He makes around 30 tackles a game, and that's just something that Malcolm really can't buy, isn't it? Just that sort of defensive effort in the back line.
Again, we see the break. As he came to the fullback, King's only real hope for the Chargers was to really back off and buy time for a few of his covering defenders to get back in, hopefully.
Down 35 metres out from the Gold Coast line. They're finally back into this game, Newcastle, for Gidley. Shows the ball, the cut-out pass for Moody. Moody steps off the left and right, but he's tackled by Andrew King. They're finally finding the gaps, Newcastle. Fletcher for Gidley. As the rain falls at Carrara, the short ball there for Adam Muir. A man who reckons he's a halfback and a front rower's body. I'm inclined to believe him. Perhaps so is Wes Patton as he puts the kick over the top and regathers and frees the ball and gets it back. Wes Patton, he makes a beeline for the line, and Wes Patton will go across and score with just a minute to go in the first half. The Gold Coast extend their lead. Absolute individual brilliance from the Gold Coast halfback. The pass went to Scott Sattler. He was there for the return.
Individually, that's one of the best tries you'll see all season. Wes Patton chips over. It's an option I don't think anybody else on the field was thinking he was going to take. Just waiting for the clock to tick down. Interplay with Scott Sattler, and then he's paced to score. You mentioned before the game, nobody knows what Wes Patton's going to do, him himself. Just a little snap of imagination. Sees a gap behind the defensive line. Good play by Scott Sattler. He brings in 2 players, and then Wes Patton's pace for the line.
You mentioned in second grade as well, Phil, that those little chips over the top so few times work. That is an example of when they do.
Driscoll had an excellent first half, led the side's tackles and hit-ups, involved in almost everything.
The big men having a go. This is Des Clark with the break. Clark is eventually dragged down just 35 metres out, so the Gold Coast have come out firing in the second half. Goddard, Schloss, he scored 2 tries tonight and they're back to 6 tackles. Driscoll. Held up quite literally, 20 metres out from the line. Goddard. Patton switches play. This is Hurst. The short ball inside for Sattler. It comes back for Goddard. And he'll play at centre field inside the 20-metre line. This is Andrew King up on the line. The inside ball is for Driscoll. And they're going nowhere at the moment. This is O'Reilly, who's put down. Goddard on the last. The inside ball. They free it up again. They're going to go in again. Other charges. Yes, they are. He's got a hat-trick. Jeremy Schloss in for his third. And I can tell you, they are very, very excited on the far side of this ground. Look at Jeremy Schloss. Why wouldn't he be excited?
Well, just similar to the first half, their enthusiasm and desire to get forward with the ball. Darren Albert clings onto him, tries to force him back. West Patton in a dummy half. Driscoll onto O'Reilly. He goes to ground 4 or 5 maybe metres out from the line. Goddard, little dart from dummy half inside to Mackay, who tracks in 2 defenders. And Jeremy Schloss just again there, his desire to score.
Absolutely outstanding. Great offload and hopeful situation. Darren Albert just couldn't hold on to Jeremy Schloss, and he is now the equal leading try scorer for the Gold Coast this year, along with Wes Patton. Robbie O'Davis, a sad sight and a sad face for Newcastle. Left the field early with that thigh injury and won't return this evening.
Example early in the second half. Phil Economides for the Gold Coast. He wanted...
There hasn't been too much that's been constructive from the Knights, Phil Clark. The one try they've scored was from a pretty good break from Troy Fletcher. It must be... Paul Harrigan just about ready to come out for his 4 players and that tackle at one stage. He'll play it now, and Jackson will pick up the ball one-handed before offloading to no one. Butterfield goes back, collects it. Dinover works the blind, goes straight through the middle. This is Muir, is it? Muir, it's Mark Glanville, I beg your pardon. It comes out now for Dinover. The kick through from Gidley is charged down. Will they come up with another as O'Reilly? He's got support on both sides, Tom O'Reilly. Will he need them? I don't think so. He slows down now. Will we have the big swan dive? He doesn't need to. Tom O'Reilly has gone in for another try for the Gold Coast. Look out. They are on fire.
This is just one of those nights where nothing's going to go right for the Knights. As we saw in the first half, an attempted kick through from Gidley. Ricocheted off O'Reilly. He had the presence of mind to remain calm. The ball bounced up well for him. 2 players either side of him, and Tony Butterfield unfortunately doesn't have the pace to catch him.
The only person within cooey was a front rower for Newcastle. That probably gives you an indication of how much it caught everyone unawares. It fell nicely for Tom O'Reilly, it must be said. He had Patton on his outside. He had Matt Dwyer inside, but he didn't need either of them. He set sail for the line. He starts to put on the smile, pokes the tongue out to Tony Butterfield, and he goes over. Gidley with the kick through. We're waiting for a spark from him. When it came, it wasn't quite what he expected. And O'Reilly, look at those big, long strides. Have a look. He'll turn around and poke the tongue out. And he goes over. This is Schloss, who scored 3 tries tonight. This is O'Reilly, who's scored 1, and he coughs up the ball within sight of the Newcastle line. Some of the good clubs in this competition pretty close. Just a month or so ago, we saw how close they took the North Sydney Bears. This is Parsons. He's got plenty of time to wind it up, and eventually he's put down 35 metres out. 32 points to 6 is by fun. Put down, and some desperate Newcastle defence on the last. He'll play it now, 15 out, or has a run from dummy half. The kick through is brilliantly picked up by Albert.
Just look at the enthusiasm of all the Gold Coast players chasing through for that, and how they'll all want to muscle up here in defence now. Another good little kick through from Chris Orr. He chased it. Darren Albert scoops it up. Jeremy Schloss right on there to tackle him straight away.
Danger now for the Newcastle Knights as Owen Craigie makes a break. He doesn't have much support inside. He may not need it. It comes now for Evan Cochrane. Evan Cochrane will run away and score Newcastle's 2nd try. I just wonder, though, is it too little, too late? We're into the final quarter of the match, and Newcastle still trails by 22 points with a kick to come.
They may trail by 22 points, but that was a perfect demonstration. Good chase. Steps inside the fullback. What a brilliant ball to Evan Cochran.
Did it
we saw him
easily,
do a
didn't he?
similar one to that against the Roosters when they were playing the Roosters a few weeks ago. Evan Cochran put himself in a brilliant position. Look how he just flicked it over with a wrist.
Oh, just superb
Straight
skills.
into his hands.
He's only just turned 19. What a fine young player he is.
What a difference a try makes too to a side. Look how now Newcastle, a little bit of self-belief coming into them.
They picked up 20 metres in the last couple of tackles. Dinova works the blind. Ooh, it's a tough game, this, isn't it? Last tackle now for the Knights, and they're running it. They're trying to keep it alive as it comes for Harrigan. He bats it back for Matt Gidley. Gidley steps through a gap, steps off the left foot. He's got support inside with Craigie. Craigie gets the ball back inside, and Adam Muir will free it up for Mark Hughes, and Hughes will go around and score. That's a glorious Newcastle try. Are they on the way back?
Oh, what a comeback. Just that set of six there, wasn't it, from scoring a try. Just the confidence in the side just rose dramatically. He played like the Newcastle side we've seen so much in the last few weeks. Gidley does exceptionally well here.
No coincidence either, Phil, that a key player in both of those tries with the inside ball was Owen Craigie. Great skills as well there from Adam Muir, just to keep the ball alive. Look at the handoff from Gidley. Stepping inside comes Muir, turns in the tackle, offloads. The fact that Mark Hughes was there in the first place is a credit to him.
As long as they just sort of remain calm and seize the opportunity when they can. They also need to lift the intensity in the defence, which is exactly what they've done with that tackle.
Des Clark it was on the receiving end of Harrigan and Muir.
Brilliant interplay there with the forwards, passing and hitting it in behind their ruck.
Close to the touchline was Evan Cochran. This is Craigie trying to fend off Schloss, can't do so. He'll play it on the last, just inside the 20-metre line. This is Dinova, will he go to the end? Yes, he does. It goes out to the right-hand side. Byers waiting, and under pressure there from Darren Albert. He takes a fine catch in goal. So we'll come back to the 20-metre line.
But By did very well, didn't he? He positioned himself where he needed to be, because Darren Albert was coming through in hot pursuit. It's an excellent onside chase from him there, you see. Just hoping for any little mistake from By. Good. Perhaps as the game's going on, they've made a few mistakes in the second half.
Darren Albert gets an opportunity to put one back on Marcus By and does so.
Probably the biggest loss for the Knights was Robbie O'Davis very early in the game. And an inspiration he was to them last week, and I'm not sure he could have turned this around, because it's been a fantastic performance from the Chargers, but he would have made a difference.
By keeping the ball alive, the Newcastle Knights. This is Dinova with space. Beautifully ankle tap there by Steve Parsons. He stopped the Newcastle attack cold as Gidley kicks through and is hitting a tackle by Chris Nahi late. We may come back to the 20-metre line. Yes, we do. Chris Nahi complaining that he was committed to the tackle.
Oh, I think pretty hard on Chris Nahi. He didn't move, but he didn't have to move. Matthew Gidley, quick thinking from him.
This is Fletcher with the offload to Jason Moody, and Moody will go across for his second try. So Newcastle fighting back late here at Carrara. They're in for their fourth try. And they trail now by just 10 points.
Very nervous times now for the Chargers. See Jason Moody in a little bit of pain. I think he was winded as he goes over and lands on the ball. Marcus By trying to spin him round.
Well, a slight nervous look to the face of Gold Coast coach Phil Economides.
Dummy half again.
Goddard is there. He's unhappy with himself. You can see he's usually one of the best, Jamie Goddard, but wonderful comeback by them as McKellar is pushed down in the tackle of Harrigan and Muir. Goddard. They'll go to the air. Gidley's left foot does it. He's got Cochran outside, but Matt Dwyer is back and takes on the defence and makes a mistake. He's dragged into touch 20 metres out by Owen Craigie.
I think blood just trickling out of the left eye.
The siren is gone at Carrara. Newcastle is beaten, and well beaten, as we see Matt Dwyer dragged into touch. The crowd loves it. Phil Economides, so does he. Congratulates Brett Plowman. He had a role to play earlier in the game. And all sorts of wind going on, and they've been rewarded by a wonderful performance by their team. Down on the sideline at the moment is Chris Bombolis with Tony Butterfield.
Well, we've got Newcastle captain Tony Butterfield. Obviously a disappointing trip up north.
Extremely disappointed, mate. We tried hard in patches and we were very ordinary in other periods of the game. Full credit to the home team. They played extremely well. They played with a lot of enthusiasm, control, aggression. They wanted to win more than we did. They played well, they played the basics, and they deserve the victory.
Any reason why you got off to such a sluggish start? That's normally not the go for Newcastle.
Well, mate, I think it was a poor start mentally. We let that error occur. That was just not good enough. To their credit, Gold Coast really piled on the pressure, scored early, scored again, and we were scratching. To our credit, we came home strongly. We started completing, we started matching them in all departments, and it could have been a closer game had a few things come off, but full credit, as I said, to the Gold Coast.
You obviously ran out of time at the end there. You mounted a bit of a comeback, but luck also didn't go your way at all. I mean, you know, you're obviously disappointed, but luck, none.
Well, yeah, you know, you make your own luck, as they say, but we were poor in a lot of areas, and it was an important game for us tonight. We wanted to come away here and do well for ourselves and for our town, Newcastle. It's going through a bit of a rough patch, and we couldn't do that, but we'll be doing our best to make amends in the future. All
right, Tony, commiserations. We'll catch you next time you're in town. There he is, Tony Butterfield, the captain for Newcastle tonight. Joining me now is Jeremy Schloss. Jeremy, 3 tries, a fabulous performance from the Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's our best win by far this year, so we're really happy.
What about for you personally? Many hat-tricks come your way in footy?
Nah, not a lot, but you take them when you can get them.
What do you think was the main part of this victory? What do you think the guys obviously dug deep at the beginning of the game and wanted to win?
Just enthusiasm. We just sat down before we said we were going to have a big one, and we did.
You kept kicking away to big leads, 20 points, 18 points. They kept coming back. Did you ever have any thoughts of, oh no, we're going to lose another one? Because you've done this to a number of teams this year and didn't get the 2 points.
No, I think we're getting a bit tired, but we never thought we were going to lose it, so we just stuck to our guns and we ended up winning.
Earlier in the week, you were named in the 22-man interim Queensland State of Origin squad. Obviously, the selectors have had another good look at you tonight with 3 tries. You keep your fingers crossed when that squad's trimmed to 17?
Yeah, keep my fingers crossed and just keep playing. I've got another game yet to impress, so hopefully have a big one next week and then see what happens.
All right, congratulations. Good luck with that Queensland side and good luck with the Gold Coast Chargers. There he is, Jeremy Schloss, and he's a pretty happy man. I think the Gold Coast were pretty happy. You should have seen the bench at full time. They jumped up in the air. They were very relieved, especially coach Phil Economides. We're going to catch up with him and see what he has to say after the victory. Back to you, Eric. Thanks, Terry. Well, you'd be a happy man, Phil Economides, coach of the Gold Coast Chargers. The boys hung on, did a magnificent job tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game of football, and you know, we got off to a great lead at half-time. Newcastle come back strongly, but for the first time we dug in and come out on top at the right end of the game.
Yeah, I saw you biting your fingernails there for the last 10, 12 minutes. You've had teams in this position before, leading teams, and let them off the hook. Tonight they went that one step further. Well,
certainly, and I think it's a coming of age for our blokes. You know, a couple of blokes in that Origin squad, we're all playing for them. But full credit to Newcastle. You know, they come back strongly. They're a great side. But, you know, my blokes were courageous tonight and they stood up and be counted.
Yeah, your props went very, very well tonight, and your halves had great games too.
Yeah, sensational. I just went through the stats. Damien Driscoll's had 29 hit-ups, so you know that's not bad, not a bad effort. And Hursty 22, and Marcus By on the wing 20 involvement. So everyone did their part, and it was a great team effort.
What about Jeremy Schloss, named in the 22-man interim Queensland State of Origin squad? It'll be trimmed down in a couple of weeks to 17. Has he played himself into an Origin jumper, do you think? Well,
certainly. I think 3 tries. He just missed out in 4. So, you know, as I said, he's a great attacking player, and he'd be great for that Origin format. You know, he's a great impact player or strike player, you know, so he's great. All right, well, congratulations, and go and enjoy the victory with your players. Thanks very much. Pretty quiet in the Newcastle dressing room, and Coach Mal Reilly, what do you say after a loss like that?
Well, unfortunately, we let them control the tempo of the game right from the beginning, and there was a lot of urgency in what they were doing, and all you can do is congratulate them. Our forwards certainly know they were well and truly beaten on the floor in the speed of the play of the ball, and they took the opportunities. We gave far too much away too early, and the catch-up situation was never really on.
A dreadful start with the kick going dead in goal. That didn't help things, and from there they got a couple of early tries.
Yeah, we came up with a few unforced errors, and they took the opportunities, and that's what the game's all about. That's why it's such a good game. You know, upsets like this do happen. Our lads in there will obviously be reflecting back on the trip home, and it's a game lost that should never have been.
Lessons learnt, do you think, from this one?
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, and they'll be addressed, but the better team won on the night.
So it's not the end of the world as far as you're concerned?
No, it's a pity, you know, that we have to learn from losses. Obviously, 2 points would have been very valuable, but they deserve what they got.
Okay, well, bad luck. There he is, obviously a disappointed coach in Mal Reilly, and the players are all gathering. Newcastle, they're about to head back home. They're going to catch a flight back home to Newcastle, and I'd say it'll be a pretty quiet flight. Thanks, Terry.